me read one verse of Scripture just so that we're official. 2 Corinthians 10:3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but divinely powerful for the destruction of fortresses. I could go on. 2 Corinthians 10:3 and 4. The weapons of our warfare are not of this flesh. I'm even more of a mess this week than I was last week. God is really, really, really messing me up in a delightful way. My concept of God is being, honestly, I haven't had an upheaval like this in years. Let me put a statement on the board just to hopefully, this is all I'm trying to say this morning. So if I sound like a heretic, go back to, this is not the heresy part. Everything else is going to sound heretical. But this is basically what I'm trying to say. God is just like Jesus. And everywhere else we go this morning, please go back to that, because I don't think in any court of divine discourse, any theological tribunal in the Christian world, that would be affirmed. All I'm saying is this is truer, truer, truer than I ever realized. Let me go ahead, at the danger of appearing negative or sounding negative, let me go ahead and knock down some either straw men or contrasts to this, because every Christian would say this, and yet I'm discovering that the God that I have had all of my life and the Christianity that I have had all of my life actually grossly violates this principle. I didn't know this was true. What most of us, at least myself anyway, I won't blame you, but what I have done is thought that Jesus came and showed us what God was like, but number one, he exaggerated a little bit. He exaggerated some of the Father's good characteristics and diminished some of his bad ones. Slightly, he kind of gave us, well, here's the nice side of God. If you really look really hard, God is like Jesus. And, we, more specifically, I think, or at least I thought, again, I didn't put it in words. If I put it in words, I would have gone, oh, that's not right. But I thought that in the beginning, God was powerful. Crash, bash, create the universe, create the cosmos, create stars bigger than, 10 million times bigger than our sun. You've seen those videos, which are wonderful. And God created everything, he's powerful. God showed his power in creation. And then things simmered down a bit, and then Jesus came and said, oh, but God is nice. And then we're in the nice period. We're in this valley of God is nice period. But then in the end, Revelation and all that stuff, God's going to put back on his army boots, and he's going to say, I'm really powerful, and he comes and crashes and bashes, all that stuff, kills everybody, smashes everything, and says, I won. But in the middle, God is nice. God is like Jesus in the middle. But at the beginning and the end, God is really not at all like Jesus. Well, and we even say Jesus is going to change, right? Because he came as a lamb, next time he's coming as a lion. Yeah, and we all go, woohoo! Now, I think we go, woohoo, because that's what our nature, that's what our flesh wants. We want God to do what we can't do for ourselves. We would like to, we would like to knock heads, right? We'd like to kick butt. We'd like to clean house. Whatever expression, we'd like to whip things into shape, but we can't because we don't have enough power. But we derive great contentment out of the thought that God is going to come and do all those things that we can't do. God is going to bear his mighty arm, not like mine, arms. God is going to bear his mighty arm. And God is going to come and do all these powerful things. And that gives us great comfort. And I think that's wrong. Because I think when Jesus came, he said, he showed us the Father. He said, Philip, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And I think that Jesus was showing us what the Father is really like. Now, and you might be saying, well, who's part of Jesus? Of course, when we go immediately to, like, one of our favorites is Jesus, cleansing the temple, putting together a whip and turning over tables. And yeah, there's something there. Our flesh really likes that part because that's like me. That's what I can identify with the way I read that. And of course, you understand. By the way, you've heard this, haven't you, in business seminars and things like that? They tell us that email is a terrible form of communication whenever things are tense or stressful or difficult. Don't use email. Why? Because you can't see faces, you can't hear voice, you can't hear inflection, and so on. And any of you ever gotten in trouble with emails? You sent it and somebody read it the wrong way, and that's why most of the time we had smiley faces so that they know we're smiling. Right? I hope they believe us. Well, you've heard that, right? That is true. That is really true. If you have a tense, difficult situation, email is not a good way to communicate because there's so much that doesn't get conveyed. Do you understand that in the New Testament, all we have is emails of what Jesus did? All we have is words on the page. We have no idea. And there's so many stories in there where you can put, in your mind's eye, you can put one face on Jesus and the story comes out sounding one way, but you could put a different face on him and the story comes out completely differently. And frankly, we don't know how he whipped even that story. We don't know. We don't know what he was doing. One thing is clear, he was not having a temper tantrum, right? Anyway, with that story accepted, Jesus showed us what the Father is like. And, well, let me use another one. I thought this morning, we've been talking, for those of you who haven't been with us, along these lines. I've been drawing a distinction, usually on these two boards, two ways of looking at the world. God is powerful. Obviously, that God is power. Somebody throw that in the trash. Let's make sure that goes in the trash. Thank you. And over here is God is love. And I contend that the battle of the cosmos, the battle of the ages, and I mean that more than just human history, heavenly history, the battle of all space-time is between these two poles. And I think this is, again, I'm going out there, but just for fun. You're used to me going out there on the edge, so that's nothing new. My guess is this is why Lucifer rebelled. Because he didn't like the way God was running things. Lucifer, who possessed, as we can imagine, and by the way, this is just a theory. Not only it's my theory, we don't even know that Satan is actually Lucifer fallen, by the way. It's a good theory, but we don't know for sure. Okay, it's just us putting the pieces together. Again, it's a good theory, so I'll go with it for the moment, but we may get to heaven and find out that we're totally wrong. Okay, just be ready to be wrong when you get to heaven.
If we get to heaven, we did one thing, right?
What's that?
Get in here.
Yeah, that's right. If we get there, that's right. I think that Lucifer, if their theory is right, possessed so much power and saw so much power that the Creator just created and saw it going to waste.